Shadout Mapes, guys.
Yeah. Recording a new episode. The new file has started.
Deep, 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 Moa, deep, 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 Moa, deep, 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 Moa, deep. Moa, deep. All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Synthaholics.
Welcome to Synthaholics. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. Today you have myself, Aaron O'Brien, and David Duncan. Hey, Dave.
Hey, how's it going, Aaron?
Hey, Dave. Things are going to start happening here in our chapter reviews of Dune. So things are finally shaking up now.
He finally got to that part of the book where he's been promising us for so long. Not exactly yet. Almost
There. So we are today going to be talking about chapter, I believe, 17 and 18. And we're after the big banquet. So we had the big banquet last chapter.
Lots of people with no names are talking about all sorts of things.
And pissing each other off and ready to start stabbing each other. And
Man, that would have been a lot more fun. Like the man, maybe Frank Herbert should have beaten George R. R. Martin to the Red Wedding or the Red Dinner or whatever. Just everyone started killing each other at dinner. It'd be great.
Sort of like a Hamlet end.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we get the little first the collected sayings of Muad'Dib in the beginning of the chapter 17. It says, "There is no escape. We pay for the violence of our ancestors." That might be true, Dave.
Probably. It usually happens that way.
Sooner or later, we're visited on the sins of the fathers. So we start off at 2 a.m. Lady Jessica is woken up by a disturbance in the hallway, and she first thinks it might be the Harkonnens, but is it the Harkonnens? No, it's the drunken sword master.
It's the next best thing.
Duncan Idaho. He is drunk as a skunk. And
this is the powerful Duncan Idaho. This is the very low-powered Duncan Idaho, apparently.
This is him drunk on spice beer. So, apparently...
cinnamon beer.
Cinnamon toast crunched beer. So, I guess it's supposed to be pretty powerful stuff, too. If you get drunk on it. So Jessica goes out to the hallway, and she sees Idaho is being kind of propped up by two house guards. And they're like, see what you did? You woke up Lady Jessica. And so, Idaho's drunk, going like, so I woke the Lady Jessica. And it's,
what does that matter?
My sword was first blooded on Grumman. I don't know what Grumman is. Do you know what Grumman is? He keeps talking about Grumman.
Maybe it's a different planet where he had a battle when he was a wee lad. When he was fighting for the Duke as a child.
Yeah,
a 12-year-old. Maybe it's a city on Caladan. Who knows?
It says Grumman was the second planet in the newish star system, third planet being the pleasure world of Galmont during the old days of the Imperium.
Oh, he didn't go to the pleasure planet? Man.
And,
everyone needs a trip to Risa.
Yeah, I guess so. And it says it says here, House Atreides is involved in this war. The War of Assassins, and Duncan Idaho was his first real experience of Mortal Kombat took place on that. So that's why he says my sword was first bloodied on Grumman. So that's Grumman.
That's a good place.
The War of Assassins.
It's very close to the Pleasure Planet. He just missed it by a couple planets.
Yeah, right. And so she knows he's drunk. And then so while they're sitting there,
Shadout Mapes, why don't you go get him some spice coffee?
Get more spice.
Yeah, hasn't he had enough spice? Lady Jessica?
No, I want him to turn into a third stage guild navigator.
If you say so, Jessica, I fucking swear.
So much. So yeah. So she wants to get him a cup of coffee.
I'll spike his coffee with Bailey's. It's fine.
Yeah. So she gets Shadout Mapes to run to the kitchen, and she hears her unlaced desert boots slap on the stone floor. That was just her breast slapping on her still suit.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah, so he's just drunk and he's starting to saying like just crazy stuff while he's drunk, and then he goes too much spiced beer, and then he says best damn stuff I ever tasted, and he says my sword was first blooded on Grumman, killed Harkonnen, kill him for the Duke, and then
Duncan's like, I love this place. This is the best thing I've ever had. I will be happy here as long
and
as
he was
I can
out
have
with a bunch of women too. So he was like watching the women. That's what he was saying.
So he's a voyeur, is what we're saying.
Right. And then we get Doctor Yueh shows up, and it's basically he hears the thing and he goes like,
"Is this
what's
tooth
going
the
on?
same shade color of Duke Leto's teeth, Jessica?
How does this look the same color as
Is
his
this
teeth?"
close enough? Do you think? It's like, what are you asking? I no reason.
So yeah, right. And then so when he's doing that, he shows up and basically out of concern, obviously, that what's going on, and this is where he starts saying something that first you think that he's spilling the beans on Dr. Yueh. Oh, this is where he goes. He says, so he's giving him the coffee. So Dr. Yueh is giving Duncan Idaho the coffee. He says, now drink this. That's an order. And Idaho jerks himself upright, scowls down at her, and he spoke slowly with a careful, precise enunciation. I do not take orders from a damn Harkonnen spy. And Yueh stiffens, like, uh-oh, is he talking about me? And whirls to face Jessica. Her face gone pale, but she was nodding. It all became clear to her, the broken stems of meaning that she had seen in the words and actions around her in these past few days could now be translated. She found herself in the grip of anger almost too great to contain. It took the most profound of her Bene Gesserit training to quiet her pulse and soothe her breathing. Even then, she could feel the blaze flickering. They're always calling on Idaho for surveillance of the ladies. And so she looks at Yueh, and Yueh kind of like lowers his eyes, and she goes, "You knew this?" she demanded. And then he goes, "I heard rumors, my lady, but I didn't want to add to your burdens." And then she's like, "Howard! Get Thufir Howard here!"
Do I have to?
Yeah, so now we got to get Howard, Thufir into it. So then we get so Idaho is taken away to sleep off his drunkenness, and then
come here, Duncan Idaho. I'll take you to my bed, and we'll get this up there.
The Fremen ladies do it differently than the Kaladin lady.
I am one of the most premier escorts in the service.
This spiced beer is making me see through time and space.
Yes, it does. There's so much space in my vagina, you would not believe it, Duncan.
So exit Idaho and Dr. Yueh, and so she goes to her quarters and she basically orders, I want Thufir Howard here immediately. I don't care what he's doing. He comes here now. We get Thufir finally shows up after a bit of waiting, and she's just totally waiting for her, and she's then starts grilling Thufir on everything about her being perceived as the Harkonnen spy, as the idea that how do we know that you're not the spy? And they go back and forth between all this. And Thufir, it's amazing. Thufir, as long as Lady Jessica's been around, this seems like the first real candid exchange between each other. And they really go at it quite a bit. And finally,
we're in an Iraqan standoff.
Yeah, that's right. And finally, she starts using her Bene Gesserit training to slowly get him into this mindset, and where she then finally releases and uses the Bene Gesserit voice to control Thufir.
So, like, how come you don't just kill all the Harkonnens by yourself?
Yeah, well, and it's funny because
basically
Right. Because he keeps on saying, I'm the Duke's man, and then
He plugs my hole when you're not around.
Oh, jeez. He says there, and then she says maybe there's no traitor. The threat's something else. Perhaps has to do with the laser guns. They're secreting a few laser guns with timing mechanisms aimed at the Shield's house. Anyways, they go back and forth, basically with like conspiracies within conspiracies and what could possibly be happening. Not realizing there's actually both on the same side. I guess they do sort of know that, but also they're kind of cautious with each other,
Yeah.
Going back and forth with this. And then, like I said, she says something to Thufir that he grabs his weapon. I believe it's like, it's not a syringe, but it has a poison-tipped something. I forgot what it was. That he's going to, he was going to use it, just thinking like he might have to jump at her and just take her out.
It's like a personal assassination device or something like that.
Yeah. But just that she says she does use the
Sit
voice.
your ass down, bitch.
Yeah, just sit down. And he is basically, he's rendered completely incapacitated. And he can't say anything other than answer what she, throws out at him. So anyways, he uses the voice and she gets, it's kind of, it surprises that she has that power, that she has the power to control him. And then, so they go back and forth, and they kind of basically figuring out that, she just says, whatever you think, I'm not the spy or the traitor that you think it is. And they even throw out Doctor Yueh, but Thufir's like, but he has the Imperial conditioning. It's not possible. So.
It's impossible. He's got that diamond thing stuck in his forehead. That makes him perfect.
Yeah, right. So,
he'll be fine.
Anyways, so they basically, maybe it's kind of clearing the air, but it's also like a power play between the two of this. It's very intense. I thought this end of this chapter of her kind of, they're both going at it, but also then her using the voice and kind of drilling Thufir about what's going on.
Should I tell him I'm pregnant?
Yeah, that's the other thing, that she's got the Duke's. She's pregnant with the Duke's daughter. So
I've got the Duke's daughter, who's going to be a crazy psycho.
Crazy psycho. And then he says, Thufir asks, like what you said before, is like, why aren't you destroying the Duke's enemies? He asks. And he says, what would you have me destroy? She asks. Would you have me making a weakling of our Duke and have him forever lean on me? But he's like, such power. This power is a two-edged sword, Thufir says. And you think how easy it is for her to shape a human tool to thrust at enemies of vitals. True, Thufir, even through your vitals. Yet, what would I accomplish? Even enough of us Bene Gesserits did this. Would it be make all Bene Gesserits suspects? We don't want that, Thufir. We do not wish to destroy ourselves, she nodded. We truly only exist to serve. So that's basically, Bene Gesserits are very powerful. They just kind of hang back and use their power sparingly.
Yeah, it's like if the Jedi were smart.
Yeah, basically. That's a good point. Yeah, very much so.
It's like if the Jedi weren't all a bunch of retards. Like, I got a laser sword, I'm gonna cut someone in half and kick their arm off.
Some legs off. I know.
It's
and
like
then,
it's super unclear in the prequel movies. Like, what are they, like pseudo policemen? Because he just like cuts off some guy's arm. Is like Jedi business. We're in the quadriplegic and taking people's limbs away business.
Well, I think I always took the Jedi as they were sort of policemen, but they were like, like I don't know, like FBI for the old Republic, but they were like pseudo like samurai, pseudo ninjas.
Yeah, it just wasn't
with wizard powers.
Yeah, it just wasn't super clear. But the Bene Gesserits are kind of like Jedi, but they just like are super low key about it. They're super powerful, but they're not gonna like show it off. They're just gonna be like, "Yep, we'll just do our thing in private."
Well, after he said that, also he thinks this is, she has great power, yes, but would these not make her even a more formidable tool of the Harkonnen? So,
and with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, Spider-Man. But
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben. But no matter what, it's like he's still thinking. Thufir's still thinking that she could still be a tool of the Harkonnens. So I don't know.
Wouldn't this make her even more powerful? But it's just like, yeah, she's had a chance to kill him for forever. It just seems really strange.
So Thufir also thinks about how the old Duke was killed by the bull, and then he thinks, I am the bull and she is the Manador, he thought, and he withdrew his hand from his weapon and glanced at the sweating glistening on his empty palm. So he's dismissed out of the room.
She makes him nervous.
You make me scared.
I've never had my hands sweat so much.
And she whispers to herself after he leaves, says, now we'll see some proper action. But unfortunately, this is where everything starts going quite wrong for everybody.
What could go wrong?
So we get to the next chapter here, and we're on Duke Leto, and he is out there in his, I don't know what you want to call it, like this guard shack. It's not a shack.
This shack has 4 walls, okay? They're nice, but they're very small. Like me and my voice.
But he gets a mysterious message, and it says a column by smoke by day, a pillar of fire by night. So this is obviously...
I think this is from the Orange is the New Black Catholic Bible of Lesbians. I'm going to stay in Durkin. I'm not going to go explore.
So this is the Israelites being let out of Egypt by the pillar of smoke. So, but it's a cryptic message, and he's like, with no signature, he's like, what does this mean? And so someone...
I wonder if Dr. Kynes has anything to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, so he gets this weird note. He doesn't know who sent it to him, and gets a report from Howard that he met with Jessica, and basically they made a big mistake for trying to think that she was a spy.
Maybe it's someone not Jessica. And Duke's like, you think? It's like, but we only put investigations on Jessica, so everyone else, we don't know who the actual traitor is.
Right. And then he goes down this passage down. He hears down this great hall, and goes down this passage, and he hears this mewling. He's like, what is that? And he starts going down. Of course, he's alone, so as all horror movies, you're like, not the best idea.
Don't run up the stairs. Don't run up the stairs, Duke Leto. It'll get you if you run up the stairs.
Yeah, so he goes down this passageway, and he's got his hand on his knife and on his shield belt. But when he gets down there, he sees that it's the smuggler Took, and he's been stabbed.
You know, Shadout Mapes like stabbing dudes in the back.
Right. So, well, yeah. So he's wet stain down his chest, and his eyes staring down in the dark emptiness. And Leto touches the stain, and feels it's still warm. So he's like, how could a man be dead here? Who would kill him? So, and then he still hears the mewling down the hall. So he goes further down, and
it's me, Shadout Mapes. Don't let me die.
And she says, Sue! She gasps, killed guards. Sent, get, took, escape, my lady, you, here, no. And then she flopped forward, head thumped against the stone.
I do what?
Yeah, so Shadout Mape is no more.
Poor Shadout Mapes.
We hardly knew ye.
And your Cartman voice.
Yeah. And then we get from there, all of a sudden, there's a door to the generator room, and he sees that something's going on in there, and that he's like, oh my God, something's happened to the generator room. And then he sees Yueh come out, and he gets hit with a
horse tranquilizer.
Basically, yeah, he gets a tranquilizer dart.
This is stronger than my speed.
This is stronger than my speed.
So he gets hit with this tranquilizer dart, and he sees Yueh, and Yueh has sabotaged the house generators. So now their shields are down, and they're wide open for attack. So, and then he's like, Leto can barely talk because he's going into complete paralysis. He kind of slumps on the wall, and Yui's like, says the drug is as a sedative, and you can speak, but I advise against it.
I know I should have had more speed before I got up.
I know. Actually, in the beginning of the chapter, it does say that he hadn't slept in days. He's just still on speed.
I should have had more speed.
I mean, come on. This guy needed a nap so bad. It's crazy.
Yep.
So he's basically like...
Dr. Yueh's giving him his doubters.
Yeah, I know, right? Now time to go sleep, Dookie Duke. And so the Duke says... sorry, not the Duke, but Yueh says, I'm sorry, my dear Duke, but there are things which I will make greater demands than this. He touched the diamond tattoo on his forehead that's meaning his imperial conditioning. I find it very strange myself, an override in my periodic conscience, but I wish to kill a man. Yes, I actually wish it, and I will stop at nothing to do it. And he says, and then he looks at the Duke, he says, oh, not you, my dear Duke, the Baron Harkonnen. I wish to kill the Baron. And then, he goes on, he says, you haven't much time. That peg tooth that I put in your mouth after the tumble at Narkal, that tooth must be replaced. In a moment, I'll render you unconscious, and I'll replace the tooth. And he opens his hand and stares at something in it. It's an exact duplicate. Its core is shaped almost exquisitely like a nerve. He says, it'll escape the usual detectors, even a fast scanning. But if you bite down hard on it, and the cover crushes, then you'll expel your breath sharply and fill the air around with a poisonous gas, most deadly. So
I am killing you because I really want you to bite this tooth.
Yes, right, exactly.
I'm killing you, kind of.
He says, you're dead already, my poor Duke, but you'll get close to the Baron before you die, and he'll believe you stupefied by drugs beyond any dying effort to attack him, and you'll be drugged and tied. But attack can take strange forms, and you will remember the tooth. The tooth, Duke Leto Atreides, you will remember the tooth. And anyways, so he replaces the tooth and puts it into Leto's mouth, and Leto's just more and more going numb. And he basically then goes on and says that you mustn't refuse, because in return for a small service, I'm doing you a thing. I will save your son and your woman. No other can do it. They can be removed to a place where no Harkonnens reach them. And he goes, how can you save them? And then Yueh goes on, by making them appear they're dead, by secreting them along people who draw knives at hearing the Harkonnens' names, who hate the Harkonnens so much that they'll burn in a chair in which the Harkonnens had sat in, salt the ground in which the Harkonnens walked. So that's basically, he's promising to to save Paul and Lady Jessica just for exchange for biting the tooth and trying to kill the Baron.
Yes, please do this for me, Duke.
And then it just ends with, remember the tooth. The tooth fairy. The tooth fairy. I'll put this under your pillow.
I'll put the other one under your pillow. You can get it once you come back from the dead. Yeah. No?
We'll begin there. And then
I'll tell Lady Jessica to go get the money from your tooth.
So what do you think of these two chapters? We finally got the shake-up. Finally, the traitor shows their head. And
all of a sudden, I was so surprised that Yueh was the traitor. I had no idea.
Yeah.
How did you see that coming from a mile? I thought it was me Shadout Mapes for sure.
Shadout Mapes.
Shadout Mapes.
Shadout Mapes dies, sadly enough.
I was so sad to see Shadout Mapes die.
The smuggler we hardly got to know, so we didn't really care much about the smuggler. I don't know what the smuggler was doing up there anyways.
I don't know. Like I think Shadout Mapes is humping him in the hallway, and then they both got cut. She's a very busy escort, let me tell you.
Yeah.
What'd you think of these chapters?
First of all, it's kind of funny and odd with the Duncan Idaho getting drunk, but the exchange between Thufir and Jessica was great. Just really intense, and then her using the voice on him, and him just being stunned that he can't, apparently he'd never had the Bene Gesserit voice ever used on him before, because he was completely taken aback by her power. So for all the years that the mentat for the Duke and probably ran into numerous Bene Gesserits, that this is the first time he's ever
Experience this.
The weird, the not the weirding, because they have that weird fighting. The weirding fighting is even crazier.
Yeah, the weirding way.
How they can move faster than you can actually see.
I mean, like, it was cool, and that's why it gave me the impression that these people were like the Jedi, but if they were actually smart about having these magical wizard powers, because, I mean, that's just super impressive. That, like, he's been around the whole time, and you know they're Bene Gesserits, but like, what does that mean? They're just a bunch of weird monk women that have sex for power or whatever. Okay, whatever. They like eugenics, whatever. But they're not hurting anyone that we know of, so whatever. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. They're an organization. They have power, but they don't really know what the power is, and they're, I guess, mostly political power. I guess all their power is perceived as political. Because they're like one of the relatively major faction in the Dune universe, so they've got political power, but like they have this amazing magic Jedi-like power.
I picture them sort of like the Illuminati, like they're behind the scenes playing, like pulling strings and stuff like that, but also they are a bit like the Jedi, and they are very powerful, but they don't put the power like on the front burner. That's like a back thing. They kick in if they ever need to.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Where the Mentats seem to be more like the Vulcans.
Well, the Mentats are mostly like they're hyperdrives because they got rid of all computers, and they still need space travel, right? So aren't the Mentats the one that drive the ships?
No, those are the navigators. The navigators are the guild navigators, and the guild navigators take the spice.
Like souped up Mentats?
They might be souped up Mentats, but they've taken the spice so much that they've become completely like mutated.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're barely human anymore. I'm not really sure about how much they have to do. Like, is this like a long time they do this, or is this like they're bred like that for years and years?
They just inject spice right into the fetus. It's like, you're gonna be a navigator. Sorry,
you're a navigator. Sorry, kid.
The parents spun the dial in for what your job was.
But I want to sing. No, you won't.
We're gonna remove your voice box, so it'll be fine.
He's just a flamboyant guild navigator who wanted to sing.
No, I'm sorry, you go navigator. You're not. Not allowed to sing.
So I love that, but it was odd that Thufir was kind of surprised by Jessica's power. And then, obviously, after that was just we finally get Yueh takes action.
Yeah, it's like 19 chapters in. We were told like chapter 1. Mm-hmm. We were told chapter 1 he was the traitor, and now we're finally getting around to it at chapter 19. Like I said up at the beginning, like when we first started doing, I think it would have been a lot more surprising or interesting for them to like reveal it to you at the last second. But I mean, Doctor Yueh wasn't even in very many of the chapters.
No,
so it's like it's kind of weird. Like I guess the whole book would have had to have been written a completely different way to make it more of a mystery. I guess he didn't feel like writing a mystery, so he's just like, this is the traitor. We're just going to move on with the story.
I think it would be pretty obvious. He'd have to go at great pains of why Yueh would never be a traitor with the Imperial conditioning.
Yeah.
So, and, probably have to waste almost a whole chapter on explaining how, what that means. So, but
probably. So,
yeah. But it's definitely like really cool to finally see this this shake loose. So
action is starting. It's kind of great.
Yeah, exactly. Action is kicked in, and we now know what's going to start happening.
So the Duke's captured. So soon, I guess we'll have to have either I haven't read ahead, so I don't know what's happened next. But I assume we'll either have a Harkonnen chapter, or we'll have like.
Oh yeah, the Harkonnens are coming.
Or we'll have a Lady Jessica and Paul. The Showgirls man run away.
Showgirls man. Yeah. But so we'll get into the next 2 chapters, and like I said, we're definitely going to get the Harkonnen, so it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, stuff's happening. I'm excited. This is it's nice seeing things start to kick into gear.
Yeah, it took a while for the payoff, and then after that, then it just gets crazier and crazier. So,
oh man, I've like watched some videos about like stuff that happens later in Dune. Like Dune sounds insane. I don't know how I haven't been like more indoctrinated into this sooner, because it sounds like
Dune,
it's like my kind of crazy. It seems like.
Yeah, Dune is this whole world, but it's been ignored for so long because I think it was just so terribly done over the years. I mean, I love Lynch's Dune, but it's not a good movie. It's visually beautiful movie, and there's some cool parts to it, but it's not a well done movie.
Yeah, it's not like a great movie on its own. I mean, like visually, it's the superior vision of Dune as far as the two versions. The other one is more successful from a storytelling.
They do tell the story more faithfully, but it's just boring to watch.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like you've got to be like a next level director, producer, team, whatever, to really do Dune justice. And like, wasn't Dune one of David Lynch's like first major films?
It wasn't his first. Unfortunately, it was his first giant like.
That's what I mean. That's
movies.
what I mean. Like first major film, like major, tons of money.
Because I think he did Racerhead first. He did a lot of smaller like art films before, very, very small, like short films. Then he did Racerhead, which is famous. And then he did The Elephant Man, which was a pretty big movie at the time. And then all of a sudden they just say, do Dune.
Yeah.
and he was like, okay. And, I think at the time, too, as we've talked about this in the episode before, but he was offered to do Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And he basically told George Lucas, he says, if I do this movie, it's going to be my movie, and it won't be anything like you think it's going to be.
I kind of want to see that, though.
I would love to see an alternate universe where Lynch did Return of the Jedi.
And that same alternate universe, Aaron Gray is Janeway in Voyager.
Yeah. So by that time, because Dune did not do well in the box office, and a lot of people were just like, what the fuck is this crazy shit? So it wasn't as popular. So, yeah.
And the thing is, like, things don't even start to get crazy until, like, the next book, I think. Like, I mean, from what I understand, like, from the little bit of looking ahead I've been doing, like, trying to learn more about Dune, as it's taking me entirely too long to go through these books. I'm also trying to stay semi-current with what we're talking about, but I'm also trying to look ahead, see like why Dune has gotten so popular over the years, and like there's some really crazy stuff that's going to happen later in Dune. I'm just like, how has this been ignored? How come they haven't done this? And just from like going through this book, it just feels like that Dune is too subtle of a book to be put into a movie unless you've got a masterful, super talented team to like make it work. Because I don't know much about the team for the new movie. I don't remember the director or what they've done before. I really hope that they've. Really...
he did the new Blade Runner
2077.
Yeah.
2047.
Right.
I didn't see that, so I don't know how that was.
Well, a lot of people loved it. I didn't see it either, just because honestly, I love the original Blade Runner, and I just kind of felt like it was going to give me a letdown.
Well, I think
I heard a lot of good things about it.
I watched like the first 30 minutes of it, and like nothing happened, so I kind of like turned it off. I was like, I'm not worried. I'm not gonna. I think it's a movie you have to like sit there and watch it hard. And I was at work, and like almost nothing happened. Like the first 30 minutes, like, well, it's a long movie, and I was like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't watch this. So I probably need to like set some time apart and try to watch that movie. But I just really hope they have because it seems like. There's excitement in the book, and like you said, the dinner scene, like there's some like tense stuff, but I don't, for whatever reason, it hasn't translated as well to the screen. So like they're either shooting it too literally, or they're not being creative enough with it to build the excitement where it needs to be built. It's something like, I don't know, or it just needs to be done into a series. Because
it would be a great series, especially like an HBO series or a Showtime series. It would be great if they had that kind of.
Because I mean, it sounds like it's like as huge like the Foundation. Like the Foundation spans like thousands of years, and it sounds like Dune also spans thousands of years. So I don't know how you could do it well in a movie, especially since like if you want to do sequels, I mean, you have to do them real fast because from what I understand, Paul's son Leto II looks exactly like Duke Leto. So they probably need the same actor. So if they wanted to like do a series, they'd probably need to cast a younger actor to play Duke Leto and then de-age him, or like just put old age makeup on him for the film. And he doesn't even have to be that old because Paul's only 15. You know what I mean? So but they still might need to age him up a little bit with makeup for the movie so that they can have him like look younger or however he's supposed to look in, the movie before he turns into a worm.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It's just I don't know. I just feel like it sounds like an amazing series, and I'm sad that like no one's been able to adapt it. I don't know if movie's the right way. I think.
It's cool because like all these books that are now finally maybe going to get adapted or and who knows how well or it's going to happen. We don't even know how good or bad this movie might be, but all these stuff that are going to be turned into either series, like you're saying, like you're looking forward to the Wheel of Time series.
There's no way that could be done in a movie. It's 15 books long, and all the
books
the
same
are huge.
And the same thing with Isaac Asimov's The Foundation. It doesn't just takes place in like a vast amount of books. It also takes place like throughout time, like eons pass. So it's not like an easy like you're going to take characters and like repeat them all the time. You're going to get a lot of the like new sets of characters, new situations for the Foundation series.
Same thing with Dune. It's
a fascinating series, but
yeah.
I don't think you could do it easily.
Yeah, movies is just the wrong format for a lot of things, and I think that's why a lot of when they change books in the movies, it's just the wrong format. Yeah. Like unless they're like a short story, because when you make a 2-hour movie out of a 300-page book, you're still missing like half the book. So
right.
Obviously, film like a movie is the wrong format. Like movies should be like short stories expanded, or like a short story done like word for word. Whatever. I just feel like it's not like they're not big enough.
Yeah, and the thing that I liked about Lynch, but some people don't like about Lynch's movie, is that they kind of give like internal dialogue of the characters. They kind of have like the whispering thoughts going on with him.
Yeah.
And that is helpful because there's a lot of thoughts that are coming on in the book that we obviously you read and you know what's happening, but you're just like, if it's all verbal, you would know what the person's thinking.
Oh, that's one thing I'm super concerned about with Wheel of Time, because those are giant novels. But half of it's like freaking inner dialogue.
Right.
Like there's so much inner dialogue in those books.
Right. Exactly.
Just like Dune. I feel like you kind of have to, or you got to like write really cleverly around it as a screenwriter to make it work. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I thought the mental stuff was great in Dune. And I thought it helped.
No, a lot of people didn't like it for some reason. I don't know why. I thought it was perfectly done for that movie. Okay. There's a lot of other problems with that movie, but that's for another time. And we talk about that too. Actually, we talk about it way back in episode like 170 something.
Yeah, we did Dune years and years ago, like 3 years ago or more.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Great episode too. You should listen to that.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
But yeah, enjoying it, and I can't wait to see more what's going on with this and reread a lot of this stuff and break it all down. So
absolutely.
Good stuff. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. And if you have different thoughts, if you have different information, something we missed, something we mispronounced or anything, please let us know. You can email us at our email at synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can hit us up at Facebook.com/groups/Synthaholics and join us there. You can tweet at us at our Twitter handle is Synthaholic Duo. And if this show is something you'd like to support, please go to our Patreon.com/Synthaholics, and there you can support us. And we also have our YouTube channel. We don't get as many views on that, but every once in a while we do.
We get some. We're getting more of the YouTube comments for Dune, but we did get one for our last. Most of them have been for Expanse, but we did get one for our last Dune episode. Someone just said love the show, so thank you for commenting.
Thank you for that comment. Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, until next week. Oh, and we are getting into Star Trek Lower Decks next, so we're going to take our break from the Expanse, sadly enough, and get through 10 episodes of Lower Decks.
And then switching back to the Expanse because it's such a great show. Cannot wait to get back to it because it's been fun rewatching it because I've seen the entire Expanse and just getting to see it again is really good because you pick up on new things, and it's just great TV.
It is, for certain. Well, guys, until then, the spice must flow.
Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
Flow it hard. Break your teeth.
Cool, man.
Cool.
I have to see that again. It's been years.
Oh, man. It was such a good premise. It was a good show at first. Yeah. John Rhys-Davies left because he said the writing got subpar. He does not know what subpar is because it got so much worse after he left.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it got really bad. And a lot of the people started dropping off. It was pretty bad.
Oh, man. It sucks.
And then the main guy from Sliders, he was in Piranhas 3D and he got his dick bitten off. So, you know.
Oh, poor. Oh, my God. Poor guy.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you swim in the Amazon.
Oh, yeah, you know. That's what happens. Things. It was like a spring break movie. It was weird. Actually, Christopher Lloyd was in that too.
Was he?
Yeah, Piranhas 3D.
That's awful.
Yeah, poor guy. It was not a very good movie.
That's funny.
It was another movie kind of watch with the boobs because that's all of that.
That's the only thing worth watching for it.
And there's like lots of killer. Oh, and seeing the guy from Sliders get his dick bitten off was kind of amusing. But I feel bad for Christopher Lloyd being in that movie.
He's like, I started all these giant movies and now I'm in this.
Yeah. Now I'm in this sad abomination of a film.
Christopher Lloyd, especially in like the 80s, was in like a zillion movies.
So much stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he was in a lot. And actually, 90s when he did the Addams Family, when he did Uncle Fester.
Mm-hmm.
He was great, Uncle Fester.
Yeah, he did good.
He was really good at it. That's a great movie. The first one is, I don't know about the rest of them. I don't think I've seen them all the way through.
Oh, wow.